Why didn't nobody tell me? Why didn't none of y'all tell me that this is what it is? Long distance, I don't care how you slice it, cut it, decorate it, slice it, dice it, trice it. I don't even know what that means. Long distance sucks. Hi you guys, welcome back for day 2 of 12 days of Christmas. If you missed when we made the transition from Vlogmas to 12 days of Christmas and why, make sure you go watch the first day, day 1. I'll link it somewhere here on the screen so that you can go watch that and get caught up. But yeah, I'm super excited. I really feel like I've been watching you guys' feedback on that video and I'm so excited. Sounds like we were all on the same page in the first place, so I'm super excited. But yeah, I just want to like get right into it. Today's video, as you saw by the title, is me updating you guys. Finally, it's been a few months, updating you guys on my relationship. And I say this every time I talk about my relationship, but if you haven't already, you might want to go watch the Stay Single and Left Behind series, at least like maybe after you watch this video, to get caught up on like why me talking about my relationship and being in a relationship and all that is such a big deal for me, because it is. It is. If you've been watching, you know that it is. So yeah, today's video is to update you on our relationship, and I've already talked it over with Bae and we are on the same page about what I'm planning to share today. That is the one thing I have been watching of other couples, just really being cautious of what you share on the internet and how you share it and all that. So like nothing I'm telling you guys is nothing that we haven't already talked about, or yeah, he's fully aware of what's happening today. I don't know why I needed to say that, but I guess I needed to say that. So the last time I talked about our relationship was when we did our full like love story and how he escaped the friend zone after 9 years. If you haven't watched that, definitely go watch that. Thank you so much for the love on that video. It was really exciting and hilariously fun. Like that video ended up being like 46 minutes or 47 minutes, and I promise y'all the footage was way more than that. But yeah, that was the last time we talked about it. That was when I traveled down to Houston to see him, because as you all know, or maybe you don't know, he moved to Houston, Texas. I live in Columbus, Ohio. He moved to Houston, Texas in July. So we had about 3 months of our relationship in person. And then from there he moved to Houston, Texas temporarily. Yeah, he moved there in July and he's been there ever since. So me going down in October was my first time seeing him in like 3 months since he had moved. So that was a really big deal for us. Me traveling to go see a guy was a really big deal for me and for my family. But it was seriously a phenomenal time. I'm so glad I went. Absolutely no regrets. So yesterday, yeah, we celebrated 8 months together. Most people would say that time period is not long. Like, sis, okay, you're still in the months. You haven't even reached a year. But like, again, y'all don't know how big of a deal this is for me to have lasted this long in a relationship. As I talked about in the Grieving My Singleness video, we've had some different challenges or things that, like, let me put it like this, baggage that came along with me, this being my first relationship ever in life and being 25 at the time. It brought its own different challenges. And I also talked about in there how I assumed that because I had done the right thing, remained a virgin, and did all this stuff, like denied myself sexuality for all these years, that my first relationship would be a cakewalk. And literally, biggest joke of 2019, okay? Biggest joke of 2019. I definitely had my own stuff to deal with and have been dealing with it still to this day, am dealing with in this relationship. But at the time when we got together, I did not suspect that our relationship would be long distance. We did talk long distance because during our like 4 months of talking, he lived in El Paso, Texas at the time. But I knew that that was temporary, and I wasn't even considering a relationship with him until he had come back to Ohio. So at the time when I said yes to our relationship, I was pretty sure that I was not getting into a long distance relationship. So on top of the challenges and the differences and the newness of being in my first relationship, I also had, as of July, this extra layer of, okay, now I have to not only figure out how to be in my first relationship, my first committed relationship, but I also have to figure out how to be in a long distance relationship. Like, I've barely figured out how to be in a relationship. It was just like, oh my gosh. And I've witnessed, like, my best friend's relationship, the one that I've showed you guys, like the wedding and all that, they were long distance for majority of their relationship. And I know a few others that like were successful long distance relationship for years, and then they ended up getting married. So yeah, it's not a foreign concept. So in my mind, I knew it wasn't easy because, like I said, I watched my best friend go through it. I knew like the challenges that came with that. But I don't know if I knew, you know? I didn't feel it myself. I thought I had an idea of what long distance is like and what it would look like and how manageable it would be. You get space and time to yourself, and you know, if you're on a purity journey like we are, to save sex until marriage, that makes it a lot easier because you're just not in position to be able to do those things. You know, just hearing it just seems like, okay, this is manageable, you know, this is good, this might even be a good idea right now. We're both really like laser focused on our careers and our future, so it just makes sense. Like, okay, yeah, this will be good, this will be good for us. But y'all, I had a moment probably about a week ago where I was just looking around like, why didn't nobody tell me? Why didn't none of y'all tell me that this is what it is? Long distance, I don't care how you slice it, cut it, decorate it, slice it, dice it, trice it, I don't even know what that means. Long distance sucks. It just sucks. And I feel like if your long distance relationship, I'm not saying the relationship sucks, let me clarify. I'm just saying the experience, the feeling of long distance sucks no matter how you cut it. And I feel like if you say anything otherwise, you're not really in love. Like, you may be half doing it, because I feel like as you grow in intimacy with a person and just get deeper connection and da-da-da-da, when that happens and you're long distance and you can't like, yeah, okay, so let me run this down for you guys. I have seen him in person twice since he moved to Houston. So once when I went in October, and then he came home for Thanksgiving. So I got about 5 days with him, give or take. And each time I had a very emotional response when it was time to depart. When he was driving me to the airport, which was probably like 40 minutes from his apartment, I cried. I mean, like, from the moment we pulled out the parking garage, I might have been crying before we even got in the car. And from the moment we pulled out to we pulled up to departures at the airport, your girl was just, it wasn't a loud cry, it was a silent sniffle. I can't get this waterfall to turn off. Like, I was messed up, okay? Then when we departed from Thanksgiving, I just knew, like, the whole time I knew it was coming, and I had that like icky feeling, but I just didn't think I was gonna cry. I'm like, I'm cool, like, I'm cool, we've done this before, it's okay. No, your girl was once again a wreck, and I just at that point accepted it, like, well, here's what it is, I mean, whatever. And I think I can try to explain my emotions about long distance. The thing about long distance is that it's almost like having two different relationships. Like, the two of you are the same people, but the context really makes a difference. It's just different when we go back to long distance, because the most you have is FaceTime, you know, just the interaction that you can have through that kind of a platform and through texting when you're, you know, going throughout the day. It's just different. So I think my emotion is that I'm almost like grieving the fact that I have to put that version of our relationship back on hold when it's time for us to depart. And that's challenging. Like, that's just something I didn't think I would have to be dealing with. And I'm just kind of trying to figure it out along the way. And figuring it out, I guess, looks like a whole bunch of tears at the same time. So one thing that came up in my most recent therapy session was that I think I'm in denial of the fact that I'm in a long distance relationship. The reason it's been so emotionally challenging for me, I hadn't accepted the fact that I was in a long distance relationship. I was operating in a long distance relationship, but expecting it to work and look like an in-person relationship, and that's just not, it's not physically, like, it's not literally possible for that to be the case. That's just, when you're 1,000 miles apart, it's just not how it works. And so one thing I've been working on since that session is really just accepting, like, and even when I said it out loud, I felt a shift, almost like looking in the mirror, like, sis, you're in a long distance relationship. Did you know that? I just want to inform you that you are in a long, accept it, embrace it. This is just, it's what it is right now, and you just have to accept it. And that helped me to take some of the pressure off. It helped me not to be so easily frustrated and disappointed and all this kind of stuff, when I'm realizing that we are in a season right now that we have to be in because of life circumstances. Instead of being miserable, you know that you're committed to this relationship, that you're excited about this relationship, that good things are happening with this relationship. So sis, just get comfortable where you are right now, okay? Just pull up a chair and sit down. It's almost like when everybody is sitting down at the table eating, and that one person was like too thirsty to start eating, and they're just standing up eating, and everybody's looking like, don't you want to sit down? Like, somebody make room, like sit down. Just sit down and enjoy your food. That's what I've been telling myself. Like, sis, sit down and enjoy your food. Like, the food will taste just as good in a seated position as it will with you standing up, making things more stressful. So that's what I've really been trying to do lately. And another thing that I think helps this process is, before he left, we both did the 5 love languages test. I'll put the link somewhere. I don't know if I can link it here, but I'll put the link somewhere up here in the description box somewhere for you all to take it. But we literally sat down, I don't remember when this was, but sometime before he left, and took the test. And I think the different ones are like quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, and acts of service. That's what it is. And so you just answer a few questions, and it lets you know like which ones are your top and which ones don't phase you as much. And my top 2, I think, were quality time and words of affirmation. No, was it? No, okay, I'm sorry, I lied. My top 2 were acts of service and words of affirmation, and his were quality time and, was it words of affirmation? It might have been words of affirmation. But I think that's helped us a little bit, because I can take these different routes to get a similar result. Not the exact result that we would both want, because both of our tops are things that like are just challenging to do long distance. But I definitely think that that has helped. And actually my therapist recommended it in our session. I was like, oh girl, yeah, we did that. There's 2 other areas that I want to hit on. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do first. Okay, the first one I'll do is just sharing some things that we do or try to do long distance to kind of like ease the struggle. One thing that he thought of that I think is amazing, and it worked perfectly, is we coordinate movie dates. So I know you're like, how, what? So Houston time is an hour behind Columbus, Ohio time. So what we did was we looked up a movie that essentially started at the same time. So it's like actually different times, but at the same time. And so I went to my theater, he went to his theater, got our ticket and everything, and then had each other on FaceTime. So obviously muted, but, and I know some of y'all are like, well, what does that mean? Like, y'all are not technically together. I know, we know that. Pitch black room, I can't even really see him, but we're on FaceTime together, and we watched the movie, and literally I thought like, oh, well, this worked. But it was so amazing. Like, I was getting dressed up, not fancy, but I was like getting, you know, a little cute for it, and was like super excited driving to the theater, which I know it sounds ridiculous, but it worked for us, okay? So I'm just sharing it just in case. And he came up with that. We were thinking that too about some dates. I don't think we've done this one yet, but going like to the same restaurant and doing the same thing of like having him propped up, and, you know, having a date, but just not necessarily together. The third thing I want to mention to you all is like this aspect of long distance that like it can get sticky if you allow it to. So what I mean is that when we have disagreements or frustrations, it's very easy with long distance to just hang up the phone. And we both agree that like hanging up on each other is like, we don't do that. We do our best not to do that. But even just to like end the conversation, or, you know, to take time away because I won't see you in person. So it's very easy to just say like, oh, I'm just gonna not say anything for a while and kind of take a break. But it's really dangerous with long distance relationship. I feel like it can really put you in a bad place, and the relationship won't last if that ends up being like the norm for your relationship, is not talking through disagreements or not working them out, but just like taking this silent break. So that's an area that has really grown me and stretched me, is realizing how much communication is like triple necessary with long distance. And I'm wondering, like, Lord, is this why you got me in this long distance relationship? Also, it's my first relationship, because communication, I'm good at it in certain areas of my life because I had to be in leadership and all these things. But when it comes to like interpersonal relationships and like those like deep level intimate relationships, your girl is not real good on the communication side. So that's really been exposed in this relationship, and I've been challenged, like, okay, you have to push through in those moments to communicate what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and not just chicken out and cheaping out by just remaining silent and giving the silent treatment. It's not healthy. So yeah, I think that's my update. I think I've given, you know, a general sense of everything I want to say for long distance relationships. If y'all have recommendations for how you got through it, if you have stories about your long distance relationship that had a happy ending, if you could drop it down in the comment section. I'm so interested to know, like, if there's suggestions or whatever, because I'm just kind of out here floating. Like, I'm making it work, but it definitely is a new season for me. It's just different. It's just different. He is truly, y'all, an incredible man. I do not take it for granted at all that I have the opportunity to learn love with this man. Like, it just, yeah, it's a blessing. It truly is a blessing. So thank you to all of you who pray over my relationship and check in and just let me know that you're down for us. I really appreciate it. We feel the prayers, we feel the love. Keep us, you know, in prayer, keep us covered. Hopefully, if you are in a long distance relationship, some parts of this encouraged you or made you feel like, oh, I'm not crazy, because I think that way too. I always appreciate finding out that I'm not the only one that thinks a certain way. So hopefully this is encouragement to you and got you up to date. I do plan on posting a new Safe Single Left Behind episode as part of 12 Days of Christmas, because it's been months since you all got one of those. So stay tuned for that. And it is officially, we're gonna do a countdown every time. Corny, right? I know, but it's fine. It's officially 9 days until Christmas, guys. So yeah, I hope you're ready. I'm not. I ain't bought a gift. I ain't done nothing, but it's okay. I'm gonna get it together. You got 9 days. Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Bye.